On the unforgiving plains of Africa, only one law reigns supreme: the strong survive and the weak are cast aside. From the very moment a lion cub takes its first breath, its fate is already decided. The strong are embraced and nurtured by the pride, while the frail must walk a razor-thin line between life and death. This is the true story of Roan, a fragile lion cub born incomplete and rejected by his own family. But instead of collapsing under despair, Roan transformed pain into strength and loneliness into sheer will. Join us on this tearful, dangerous, yet inspiring journey. The journey of a fragile soul who redefined what courage truly means. The sun rises over the golden grasslands, each blade trembling under the morning breeze. From inside the den, tiny cries announce a new generation of life. Plump and healthy cubs scramble to nurse from their mother, each one brimming with promise. But then comes Roan, small, frail, his legs trembling unnaturally. From his very first step, weakness defines him. While his siblings wrestle, learn to pounce, and practice their first growls, Roan stumbles and falls behind. His clear, innocent eyes reveal a longing to belong, but his fragile body betrays that dream. At the age when a cub must prove strength, Roan instead lingers at the edge, silently watching the laughter and playful fights of his siblings. That distance is more than just a few steps. It is a deep chasm separating him from the world he longs to join. He was born different, and he does not yet know that this very difference will shape a stormy path ahead, but also ignite a spirit that even the mighty savannah will one day bow to. A lion pride is often seen as a fortress. Within it, cubs are sheltered, nurtured, and trained to become powerful hunters. But for Roan, this fortress feels like a cold prison. During playtime, his siblings crash into each other like young warriors, honing the skills they will one day need to survive. Roan stays on the fringe, his weak legs denying him the chance to join. Each time he tries to step closer, the growls and hostile stares of the pride force him back. His father, the embodiment of strength and authority, never acknowledges his presence. When the other cubs are groomed and embraced, Roan only watches from afar. Even his mother, once his final refuge, begins to turn away. The milk he desperately needs slips further from reach with each passing day. In the world of lions, play is not play. It is training for survival. Yet Roan is excluded from every lesson, every touch, every bond. With each shove, with every cold shoulder, another layer of loneliness wraps tighter around him. But hidden beneath that fragile frame lies a heart quietly forging resilience. The very darkness of rejection is shaping Roan for challenges even the strongest may never endure. One blazing afternoon, the pride begins to move toward new land. Their steps thunder across the plain, a golden river of strength flowing steadily away. Roan scrambles to keep pace, his tiny legs trembling on the scorched earth. But no one looks back. The pride drifts farther until their figures vanish into the sea of grass. Roan stands alone, panting, eyes brimming with tears. On the vast savannah, solitude is heavier than any wound. The wind howls like mocking laughter. Hidden footsteps of predators tighten the fear coursing through him. Being left behind is not just loneliness, it is death inching closer. Roan is too young to hunt, too weak to defend himself. Yet instinct whispers, keep moving. He begins to follow the faint scent trail of the pride, his limping legs pushing forward against despair. One thought rings inside his mind. If I stop, I will disappear forever. As the sun sinks, Shadows smother the land like a heavy blanket. Stronger cubs curl into their mothers for safety. Ran has no such shelter. He stands alone in the emptiness, his small heart pounding wildly in his chest. The night belongs to hunters. Every rustle carries danger. The flap of an owl's wings, the hiss of dry grass under the wind, even the hooves of antelope fleeing in the dark. Each sound jolts Ran in terror. Without the pride, Ran is like a candle flickering in a storm. Any predator could snuff him out in an instant. Desperation drives him to call out, hoping his mother or pride might hear. But the only reply is silence, cold and endless. Loneliness is no longer just sorrow. In the night, it becomes a brutal warning. Ran realizes that if he wants to survive until dawn, he must face the darkness with every fragile ounce of courage left inside him. As Ran's eyes adjust to the night, a shadow emerges, silent, fluid, each step perfectly placed. Twin embers burn in the dark, piercing leopard eyes. The distance shrinks to less than 20 strides. One leap would be enough to end him. Muscles coil beneath spotted fur, preparing for the fatal strike. Ran freezes, his legs locked like stone. Death has never been clearer. Leopards and lions are eternal rivals. On the savannah, competition is merciless, and the surest way to gain advantage is to kill the cubs of your enemy. Ran, abandoned and alone, is the perfect prey. Nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. All he can do is stare at the predator closing in. Cold fear seeps through his body, but inside a tiny flame flickers, a desperate will to live, to prove he is not just a mistake. Just as death hovered a heartbeat away, the ground trembled. From the riverbank nearby, a massive shape charged forward. A hippopotamus, its thick hide glistening, tusks flashing white, eyes glowing red in the moonlight. It did not come to save Ran. It came to defend its territory. The leopard halted instantly. No matter how swift, it could not challenge the raw fury of a full-grown hippo. In an instant, the spotted predator melted back into the shadows. Ran stood frozen, chest heaving, eyes wide with terror. The hippo stared briefly, then lumbered away, leaving the trembling cub behind. Fate, for once, had offered mercy. But Ran understood. Luck does not strike twice. The savannah had delivered a brutal reminder. If you want to live, never wait for someone else to save you. From that moment on, Ran vowed that every breath he drew would be a fight against destiny itself. Days later, after dragging his fragile body across the plains, Ran finally caught the faint traces of his pride. His heart leapt at the familiar roars, the familiar scent, like the safe harbor he had dreamed of during endless nights. But joy shattered quickly. Instead of welcoming him back, older siblings pounced on him. They slammed him into the dirt, claws scratching his thin skin. To them, he was nothing more than a toy. Ran cried out, his weak voice carried away by the wind. But this time, his mother heard. She rushed in, roaring thunderously, scattering the tormentors. For the first time in days, Ran felt the warmth of protection again. Yet protection did not mean acceptance. Within the pride, he was still a burden. The cold stares, the dismissive gestures, the weight of rejection still pressed on him. Even with his mother at his side, Ran remained a shadow. This reunion was no blessing. It was a dream suffocated by reality. Ran learned the harsh truth. Being near the pride did not mean he belonged to it. After that bitter return, Ran's body revealed its limits. Every attempt to stand was a negotiation with pain. His crooked spine pulled him sideways. His thin tail quivered with each strained breath. While his siblings played, Ran pressed himself flat to the ground, trying to ease the throbbing that shot from his back into his legs. In a world ruled by speed and strength, even the smallest limp marked one for exclusion. His mother, bound by the ruthless instinct of selection, often pushed him away when he tried to nurse. Each rejection cut deep. At noon, the scorching sun seared his scars. Flies swarmed the wounds, their buzzing a cruel taunt. Ran gritted his teeth, licking them clean before slowly rising to follow the pride. The price of injury was not only physical pain, it was the feeling of being left behind by time itself. Yet every time he nearly collapsed, he drew one deep breath and forced his broken body onward. For Ran, even a short stretch of land felt like a mountain to climb. But still, he climbed. Not because he was sure of reaching the summit, but because stopping meant extinguishing every remaining hope. Late in the day, a sound reached Ran's ears, the trickle of running water. He pushed through the brush and saw it, a narrow river shimmering under the evening light. On the far bank, his pride was already crossing, their wet paw prints marking the sand. Ran froze. The water was shallow but restless, rippling like a sheet of glass, hiding secrets below. Shadows moved under the surface. Crocodiles. Fresh drag marks on the shore revealed their presence, waiting silently at the edge. From across the river, his mother growled sharply, a warning. "Don't!" Ran heard. He understood. The savannah has many mighty kings, crowned with strength and dominance, but there is also a crown unseen, reserved only for those who never surrender. Ran wore it the day he chose to keep moving. Strength is not always a roar that shakes the earth. Sometimes it is the quiet, relentless sound of footsteps that never fade. We do not choose how our story begins, but we do choose where it leads. And with every step forward, no matter how small, we carve the heart of a true king.